Okay, abuzia ba makwa ba shonko so edeba Ghana Politics Avenue so abuzia yombonra yensemu breaking news bi aba eno na ya project ede ato ye screen no enchain de amamono OSP the special prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts and I have been handcuffed and beaten by 17 policemen. Same Darko abuzia OSP kisi ejaben abusia assassination attempt and it say what to me I escape ya abusia enye asem keto akra yesiano omo akwa attack no serious one enye asem keto akra intino OSP after say Ghana phone na ede omano egunu so say it is an office no President Mahama and scrapping no and as a petition to remove OSP no President Mahama nsa etumi kind abusia OSP ya kwako attack na what me I escape assassination abusia one of his spokesperson at the ababetuja yen so yeah de brem momia corner yonkonkoti and simbia or the etuja on subscribe like na share ma afront so and sa into me and kabi Ghana Politics Avenue so and don't forget to click on the notification bell so na be any updates bia ya be dropping on so on sa ebi to me akabi bramase
on a question of trust.
I understand.
These issues are not exactly the subject for which I asked the question. So let me come to Kofi Bento. Kofi, I said that, please hold on. Your restricted zone, as Act 959, which is the OSP Act, requires, that is procedure, not intimidation. The way forward is not demolition, but reform. Strengthen the OSP, demand proof from everyone. That is how a serious republic behaves. Before I take that break, Sammy, quickly. There is concern. Somebody was saying, why is it that your officer that I spoke to, why is it that we are putting the person in anonymity? If I want them to believe me more, we should disclose who the person is. Well, I know the person. You know the person. Why did you insist that we should not disclose the person's identity?
Well, because the men and women in that office, they do a lot of covert operations. And it is important that we protect their identity. That's why we have been uncomfortable when even Martin Pebu keeps mentioning names of officers that he meets in the public. Because, like Mr. Assǎssinǎt said, they have young families, and this is a very dangerous job. I think this matter is well known. The special prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts.
What do you say again?
I said the special prosecutor has survived 2 assassination attempts. And yet, there are so many things that we don't put out. Myself, I've been handcuffed and beaten before by 17 police officers, dragged out of my official
police?
Vehicle. Yeah, in the past.
You that is a police.
Then he has police powers. In the past, because there was a clash, right? So the work that we do is dangerous. Myself, I don't even live at one place. And the same, because people say that you are the face, you are talking, and those, like Honorable Him-Sammy said, these people are very powerful. The people we are dealing with, they are very powerful. I'll give you a typical example of one case. There's a case we are doing about fuel diversion, in which people have taken 800 million Ghana, 600 million Ghana, 80 million Ghana, and you're asking them to pay. And they're saying that the money is gone. They say, sell your assets and bring us the money. And you think that such people, they won't be happy when you are not there. They will be certainly happy, and they are not going to sit down and just allow you to be. We have put before court former commissioner generals. We have put before court one of the most powerful men in Ghana. Nobody could sack him. And these are very powerful people we are going after. So if you allow our officers' names to be all over the place, they may not be able to do the work that they have to do. So sometimes the public should understand.
OSP has suffered 2 assassination attempts, and the people don't know one of Martin's concerns. How come the people don't know this?
Because some of these matters are treated at the highest level. But I do understand, and sometimes for national security purposes, I was not supposed to even say
Is
this.
anybody being investigated over these assassination attempts?
There have been investigations in the past. There have been investigations in the past. But the point I want to make...
Not in the past. It should be ongoing, and that's... You are looking for somebody to be responsible for this...
there have been investigations.
What form did this take? Sorry. What form did this take?
I cannot disclose them readily. There are some things that... But I just wanted the public to know that we face a grievous risk in the job that we do. And so putting out the names of officers is quite dangerous. You remember there was a leak of confidential memo in which names of officers were published. And some of the officers threatened to stop the job because they started getting calls. And sometimes people will threaten you and say that you want to take away my daily bread. And so it's a difficult job. So if we don't put out their names, it's because we are protecting them and their families. At least some of us, we have been known for a while. So there's nothing like going quiet.
Okay, I remember at the beginning stages, when we wanted to speak to you, you wanted to be blacked out. You already know it. Anyway.
You see firsthand some of the work that we have done.
Let's clarify first.
Yes,
it's not a government. It's not a government WhatsApp group.
No, I'm trying to say that
on that group.
I'm trying to say that
no, I just wanted
by the
people may get a wrong impression. Yes. It's not a government WhatsApp group. It's a WhatsApp group of independent minds, of CSO leaders, and people like you because of your offices, as in the key accountability institutions who are also there. OSP, Shiraj, Auditor General, even the Supreme Court has a representation.
Yes.
Because we have been given a job to do, which is not influenced by the state.
The point I'm making is that it is created by the government because we are charting a new path on our anti-corruption policy.
And ethics.
So that's the point I'm making.
Thank you.
Let's go on. So let me start with this 2.7 that he doesn't appreciate. I think over and over, we have told Manasseh that there's a big difference between investigative journalism work, which I know how to do as well, and then criminal investigation. And that when investigative journalists do their work, like Anas does his work or he does his work, it's just a spark, which then gives law enforcement agencies some grounds to begin an investigation, and that their investigation may be more thorough and deeper than what you do. And so he should not be insistent as if what he found may be the ultimate truth. So OSP, and he just made a point that OSP has now changed something on his website, and it is completely false because OSP doesn't change things on his website. These are things that we have published, and it's public record. If you go on the OSP's social media account, you know the date it was published. And you notice that it was published way before Manasseh's issue about 2.7 billion. And it is simple because when the OSP was done with this work, we did the calculations based on how much SML would have earned if the contract had not been cancelled. And this calculation is based on a formula that PPA approved. And the formula is based on the 2023 figures for lifting for crude and for gold. Strangely, when it comes to, I think, crude or gold, they do the calculation in cedis. But we do know that everything is done in dollars. And then when it comes to the oil, they do the calculation in dollars. So when we did the calculation based on the 2023 formula, it came up to $173 million for, I think, gold and 2.6 billion cedis for oil. I don't know if I've mixed them up, but these are accurate figures. So we already put that out very early and said that this is how much Ghana has saved by cancelling the contract. So it's not a Manasseh that has done any calculation or discovered anything, or OSP has now put it up on its website. The dates are there and they are very clear. If I had time, I would have shown you the dates because I can check it immediately. Then we also, in the course of communicating, said that, well, although this is the amount, if you do the official calculation, we've stumbled on some documents that shows that in going to PPA, they had put a ceiling as to how much they would take within the 5 years. And it came up to $2.7 billion. And so it is wrong for us to even say that we saved the nation $173 million and 2.6 billion cedis. But then, because if we are not cancelled, they were going to work within the 2.7 billion. And when you look at the PPA approval, it didn't come with figures. It only came with formulas, right? It came with a formula that you use based on the 2023 liftings. But 2023 liftings could change. So we can understand why they had to put a ceiling of 2.7 billion, because the liftings could change at any time. And we were seeing that they were pecking themselves at the highest level, so that if tomorrow they say $2 billion, when you question, you say that, but they approved the formula based on the letter we gave you in approval. Now, what I think Manasseh is struggling is that he wants OSP to conduct the trial in the open, in the media. We have consistently said that this is a very sensitive case, a very complex case that has taken us almost 2 years or less than 2 years to complete. These are not things we can put out there. SML lawyers are listening. Every time they are sponsoring things on Joy, they do the calculation in cedis. But we do know that everything is done in dollars. And then when it comes to the oil, they do the calculation in dollars. So when we did the calculation based on the 2023 formula, it came up to $173 million for, I think, gold, and 2.6 billion cedis for oil. I don't know if I mixed them up, but these are accurate figures. So we already put that out very early and said that this is how much Ghana has saved by cancelling the contract. So it's not a Manasseh that has done any calculation or discovered anything, or OSP has now put it up on its website. The dates are there and they are very clear. If I had time, I would have shown you the dates because I can check it immediately. Then we also, in the course of communicating, said that, well, although this is the amount, if you do the official calculation, we've stumbled on some documents that shows that in going to PPA, they had put a ceiling as to how much they would take within the 5 years. And it came up to $2.7 billion. And so it is wrong for us to even say that we saved the nation $173 million and 2.6 billion cedis. But then, because if we are not cancelled, they were going to work within the 2.7 billion. And when you look at the PPA approval, it didn't come with figures. It only came with formulas, right? It came with a formula that you use based on the 2023 liftings. But 2023 liftings could change. So we can understand why they had to put a ceiling of 2.7 billion, because the liftings could change at any time. And we were seeing that they were pecking themselves at the highest level, so that if tomorrow they say $2 billion, when you question, you say that, but they approved the formula based on the letter we gave you in approval. Now, what I think Manasseh is struggling is that he wants OSP to conduct the trial in the open, in the media. We have consistently said that this is a very sensitive case, a very complex case that has taken us almost 2 years or less than 2 years to complete. These are not things we can put out there. SML lawyers are listening. Every time they are sponsoring things on Joy, on TV3 and the rest, they are paying attention to some of these things. So in the criminal investigation and trial, there are certain things you can't just be talking about. But we were putting up the figure to say that even the 173 and the 2.6 billion, they are even low, because if the contract had continued, they were going to earn more. So that's about that one, and I don't know how difficult it is. Then the other one is that I've been wondering, what is it that Manasseh is seeking? You have brought an investigative report. They have taken the work. They've done it. 8 people, including Ken Oforiatta and Enasa Corey, have been charged. Now, your predicament, I don't know what the predicament is that we started the investigation late, and he has given data, so I'm very happy. Now, he claims that he has a diary of action, which, I mean, I cannot confirm or deny, because as he said...
It's a fact. I've seen it. He has shown it to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I cannot confirm it, because we know that
It's a diary of action.
Yes.
That obviously has been leaked.
I understand.
From your
that's
offices.
What I'm saying. That
he's an investigative journalist.
That's what I'm saying. That Okay,
like,
that's why I'm saying that he has a diary of action that he said that investigation started in preliminary in 29th. Let me give you one example to show how we tell him that he doesn't know how to do the OSP job better than the OSP. Ken Oforiatta, he was invited on the 24th. He quotes a diary of action and says that a supervisor says that start with preliminary and identify the people who we are going to investigate. And he says it was dated 25th.
Of January?
Of January.
2025.
It tells you that...
And you say that you had written to invite Kenuforiata...
Even on 24th.
On 24th.
Yes. Okay. I'm just giving these things to tell him that it's not as he thinks. So it's true that there's a particular team. A particular team may be assigned a task. The mere fact that...
In your law, you refer to them as panels.
Yes, panels, I understand. And then even before, it is not the supervisor of a team that will tell somebody to commence preliminary investigation. It is the SP. If you read LI 2374, it will tell you that after SP has considered the underground work that has been done, that is when he will commence a preliminary, he will say that they should go into preliminary and then full scale. Now, this is a very complex matter.
You are saying that by the time your officers reach out to Manasseh, that we are commencing preliminary investigations, some work would have been done.
A lot of work would have been done.
And so it is wrong for him to assume that that time was when the investigation started.
And I'm saying that for the team...
And that by that time, Kenuforiata had already left the jurisdiction.
Yes.
So you cannot claim that you were powerless and you would have, stopped him, because by that time, you had not even started investigating him.
Let me develop the point. So the point I'm developing is that it's the special prosecutor that would have given a team a job to do. If that team is given a job to do, say, go and pick something from Manasseh, the problem I think he's having is that he's assuming that he's a star of the investigation. And so by the time he was called on the date he gave, 29th, that he should come, and a particular team talking to him, that's when we started. So that team could say that they are doing their preliminary works. But I'm saying that that preliminary works would have been done by the special prosecutor and then assigning teams. So if a particular team come to you and they use a language such as preliminary works, it doesn't mean that that is when they commence. And I'm saying that this is a complex case that the OSP had to bring in a lot of experts way early. And remember that the OSP too had to wait for the KPMG report to be done and then thoroughly assess it to be sure whether it answers all the questions. Do we need to continue, or the KPMG job does the work? The OSP in its half-yearly report, we continuously brief and say that we had considered the KPMG report. We have come to the conclusion that there's still more case to answer, so we will continue with our investigation. And this was way in 2024. If you read the June half-yearly report.
Manasseh and his team do the SML investigations and bring us the expose in 2023 of, was it November?
Yes,
or December?
And they filed the petition in December
of 2023.
And SML,
Wait,
the president...
You are saying that the president made an intervention asking for an investigation or an audit by KPMG. That ended sometime when? March, April of 2024.
No, it ended in March, but the report was finally out in April 2024.
2024. And between that time, you are saying you had done some work. You didn't wait until 2025 to begin work.
Yes. So when they brought the report in I think it's either 25th of December or something, the president had appointed KPMG somewhere 29th, or I've forgotten the date.
So he's telling you that you have said, and when I spoke to Martin, he confirmed that, or he raised that issue as well, that you had said that by the time Ernest Akori was leaving Ghana, he was not a subject of investigation.
Thank you very much.
Wait, he was not a subject of investigation.
Yes.
So you should not be blamed that you watch him to go out.
No,
he is saying Ernest Akori left this country in November of 2024.
He's not saying we told him. A lot of the information...
Just hold on. Yeah. If he left at that time, in November of 2024, and by that time, he was not a subject of investigation or a person of interest,
yes.
How do you convince us that in January of 2025, about 2 months later, Kenuforiata, together with him or whoever, were actually under your radar and you wanted to arrest them, but the powers that be, enabled their escape?
I don't think that we said we wanted to arrest, but I'll explain to you. So another point that Manasseh makes, which is so inaccurate is the fact that he said something that because there was a letter that was signed by an Sakori, it means that, or he makes the point, and this is where I talk about this thing for glory. The fact that you do a documentary and you see a letter signed by a minister does not automatically mean that the minister has done something wrong. An investigation will need to go into it, because in criminal investigation, merely signing a letter authorizing payment.
But you eventually have charged an Sakori.
Yes, so I'm coming to the point. I'm coming. We charge an Sakori not based on the letter that was signed. And I said that these are you see, a lot of people have not taken time to read the investigative report thoroughly. I can understand it's voluminous, and these things will play out in court. That's why we said that at the time Sakori left, he was not a subject of investigation, and that we won't shy away from it. And Sakori was not a subject of investigation. It doesn't mean that preliminary investigations had not started. And it doesn't mean that at the time of preliminary investigation, you discovered an Sakori. You have no idea when we were able to pin a lot of people.
Okay.
So
he raised these issues.
Okay, abusia wene ensema ekoso ewo political highway so eye OSP and I see an yedena honsem and the brem wa yakwako attack na wa escape assassination eye attempt enye asam ketuko brother mase samoje pene kokutiza ensemwe edemai aha Ghana Politics Avenue. So, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that we have any updates be ever dropping on. Also, once to me, aka, madam.